All right, welcome to our next Real Talk Friday. Today, we are going to talk about failure because this is something that I have seen a lot where parents do not want to see their kids fail because it hurts. We don't like to see our kids hurt. We don't like to see our kids suffering or sad or upset, but it's the reality. And I want to talk about on the positive side of failure of what it can do for your kid because failure is the best life lesson. And you might be like, what? What are you talking about, Tracy? I don't understand that. What do you mean it's the best life lesson? Failure is truly the ultimate life lesson. If we succeeded at everything we did and everything we tried and everything we said, we have nothing to learn. We would never advance ourselves. We would never be better versions of ourselves. We would just keep going through life. We'd be very just like, you know, very sad. Failure is that thing that shakes it up. Failure is what pushes us to be better and do better. It's what makes us want to be better people. Because when we fail at something, that's when we have to take a step back and say, what was my role in that failure? What could I have changed or done better? What were outside circumstances that could have happened or affected this? And I may not have control over those, but how can I adapt to those or be ready for those the next time around? Right? Failure is the best learning tool. And this is where I think as society we went wrong several years ago with the everybody wins mentality, the every kid gets a trophy mentality. And I'll tell you, my son is in club soccer. He has been in club soccer for a couple years now. He's 10. It's been a while and he has failed multiple times. He's been benched. He's not, been a starter. He's lost games. When he was a goalie for a couple seasons, he, had goals scored on him. And believe me, as a parent on the sidelines, my heart's like sitting there breaking for him, right? I'm like, I'm sorry, buddy, especially as a goalie. That is a hard position, okay? For those of you with goalies, I'm with you. I hear you. It is hard to see our kids fail, but it's necessary. If we keep trying to put them in bubbles and save them from failure, we are doing so much more damage to them. Or what if we started looking at failure as an opportunity to really help our students and our kids grow and develop and mature and be responsible? Looking at failure that way. Okay, my kid failed. Let's now be able to have that open conversation together and talk about it together and help them work through those emotions and those frustrations and those things and help them come up with a solution and teach them how to do that. So that way, when they're out in life without you and they fail, they get fired from a job, they get demoted, they get passed over on the promotion, or their marriage falls apart, their relationship falls apart, or they lose a kid, or whatever could happen, that they now know how to work through those tragedies and those traumas and those failures, right? Because we were able to give them those tools and prepare them for it by letting them experience failure in a safe place. Because experiencing failure in the adult world with no support around you is awful. It's awful. That's what causes people and drives people to suicide and to depression and to other mental health issues because they're failing and they have no support system to help them pick up the pieces. And they've never learned how to do it themselves. So we as parents have a phenomenal opportunity with our kids as young as honestly 4 or 5 years old, all the way up until they leave our house to help them learn how to cope with failure and how to experience failure. Let them fail. I watched some videos a couple weeks ago on social media that I loved. It was about these little kids and this lady who was I can't remember what role she was, but she was talking about how when we have little kids and they first start to walk or they're crawling or doing whatever, what do? Oh gosh, we're all over the place. Like, oh, don't touch that. Oh, go over here, and they fall and we go, oh, we react strongly about it. The lady was talking about how it is so powerful when we don't do that as parents. When we up and they fell down, we just calmly go over there. We don't act all emotional about it and all like, oh my gosh, are you okay? We go over and say, you all right? You good? Okay, cool. Like, or we would say, hey, that was a good fall. I'm good, help them back up, or just applaud them for getting back on their feet and doing it on their own. The lady was talking about research shows that if you give a powerful reaction to a child when they fall or something like that, they are like 9 times more likely to have a negative reaction, like actually cry or act like they're hurt because they're, oh my gosh, mom just made a really big deal about this. I must be really hurt. This must have been a big deal. I must be afraid now. Where if we go and approach her, we just give them a second, they fell down. More times than not, if you don't react, that kid's gonna be like, and they pop back up and they're like, I'm gonna go back to it. And probably do the same thing again. It's when we react because we're not letting them cope with those things. We're not letting them take it on themselves. And we do this with our teenagers. We do this with our young adults. We do this with our preteens, right? Let your kids fail and be there with them and help them work through it together so that they can handle failure when you're not around.